The Super Bowl is on Sunday. It's time. The Chiefs have an opportunity to make NFL history with the first three-peat in NFL history, while the Eagles are looking to get revenge on the Kansas City Chiefs after their Super Bowl 57 loss back in 2022. Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley are leading this Eagles offense to what it is today, while really Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are doing what they always do in the big-time moments in the playoffs and just making plays with Andy Reid at the helm of that entire system here. But Super Bowl 59, New Orleans, Superdome, a lot of history has been made here. Like, for instance, the Chiefs, I think, first Super Bowl win was in the Superdome. Tom Brady's first Super Bowl win was in this very building. So there's a lot of history surrounding this place, but now it's time, potentially, for there to be more history to be made. So here's my question to you, the biggest question. When it's all said and done, when the clock hits quadruple zeros in the fourth quarter, who will come out on top, the Philadelphia Eagles or the Kansas City Chiefs?
Well, my view, and we talked about the keys to winning, and for both the Chiefs and the Eagles, I said this once already, the Eagles are the better team on paper. They have the best running back in the league. They have stars at wide receiver. They have the number one defense. Their quarterback can run the ball. I think those are all very key factors. The Chiefs counter by having the edge at head coach. I think Andy Reid brings loads of playoff and Super Bowl experience. In 26 seasons, 12 of the Chiefs, he is 28-16 in the playoffs, and he's 3-2 in the Super Bowl. They also have the edge at quarterback, I think, despite Mahomes having a down year this year, which was affected by injuries to both skill players and the offensive linemen. His decision-making is among the best. He ranks first on third down QBR at 90. He is hyper-efficient on scrambles, averaging .79 EPA per play, third highest and highest among quarterbacks with at least a 2% scramble rate. Based on the Football Power Index, the Eagles are the better team, favored to win by 2.2 points. The difference to me will be the Eagles' defense, which is better than the Chiefs, and they'll do just enough to slow down Mahomes and stop the Chiefs' running game to win the game 24-21.
That should be, you're picking the Philadelphia Eagles to win Super Bowl 59.
24-21. That's my pick.
I said this about the Buffalo Bills-Chiefs game, and by social media standards, I was dead on accurate. America was rooting for the Buffalo Bills because the amount of people who were complaining about the Chiefs calls and all of that, yeah, no, it seemed like, I know the comments in my comments section said otherwise, but I guarantee you they were Chiefs fans. In this case, I have the same logic, the same exact logic. America is rooting for the Eagles to win this football game because I think that it's simply they're tired. They're tired of the Chiefs doing what they always do. And I'll say it again. One of the things that people really hate about the Kansas City Chiefs is they hold this game so close to you. It seems like you could win. And then with 13 seconds, with 2 minutes, a minute 15, Mahomes just takes your soul and crushes it because he goes up with a game-tying or game-winning drive, and then you end up losing in overtime, or he scores the game-winning touchdown, or he sets up the game-winning field goal. In this case, you bring up that number one defense. Well, how about we take a look at some of Mahomes' numbers against the number one passing defense in his playoff career? Because currently he's undefeated at 3-0. Completion percentage of 70.8. His team scores 37 points per game. Passing yards, 282. Yards passed to 7.5. Touchdown interception, 8-2. Pass rating of 108.5. So he is undefeated. What about in domes? Because they're playing in a dome. He's 14-0. Hasn't lost. Completion percentage of 67.6. He has 325 total yards per game. He has 31 touchdowns to 5 picks, a passer rating of 104.8. So you bring up the defense, well, it doesn't matter. Because against the number one passing defense, Mahomes is undefeated. They're playing in a dome, well, guess what? Mahomes is undefeated. Well, how about this? Let's go with clutch situations, because that's where the true greatest quarterbacks and the greatest players really emerge. Because we've seen Chris Jones, key drive for the opposing offense. Chris Jones generates a key pressure, disrupts a passing lane, gets a sack, generates a pressure with an overthrow, whatever the case may be. Chris Jones is one of the tremendous players in the NFL. What about in a Super Bowl already, the 2021 Super Bowl, Bengals-Rams? Jamar Chase broke free against Jalen Ramsey on the last play of the game, but what happened? Aaron Donald broke free and generated a sack right there. Aaron Donald is one of the greatest defensive people in NFL history. Ray Lewis, tremendous defensive player, always coming up big in the key moments. But how about this? What about a quarterback? Patrick Mahomes, down by 1 score in the fourth quarter or overtime, has a 71% completion percentage, 6 touchdowns, no picks, a passer rating of 132. I mean, if that's not clutch, I'm not sure exactly what is. But I think that the Eagles have an opportunity here. Because, like you said, on paper, we could go down the list. And you know what? Let's do it. Why not? Defensive backs, I'll give to the Philadelphia Eagles. Linebackers, I'll give to the Philadelphia Eagles. Defensive front, I'll also give to the Eagles. Offensive line, Eagles. Running game, Eagles. Wide receivers, Eagles. Quarterback and head coach, I'm giving to the Kansas City Chiefs. Because we've already seen now for 2 straight seasons, teams with inferior or superior wide receiver groups, running back groups, offensive lines, even defenses. It doesn't matter because of those late game situations. Mahomes holds on to this game just long enough for him to have the last possession of the game. And normally when it's at that point, because Mahomes likes to, drip, 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 and then kills you, well, then your defense is gassed. He'll drive right down, set up a game-winning field goal, or set up the game-winning touchdown. And I think that really the Chiefs' defense, while it hasn't been tremendous against the run in recent history, this year it is good. It's a top 10 rushing defense in the NFL. And I'll bring up the numbers again because this season in the playoffs, since 2019, with running backs with 7+ attempts, these are the numbers. I mean, they're incredible. 0 100-yard rushers in this time frame, 4.2 yards per rush allowed, 54.6 rushing yards per game. I mean, they're going up against some of the top premier backs in the league because normally in these key moments in the playoffs, you're facing the best of the best at this point. So with all that being said, again, I'm saying the exact same thing I said for the Buffalo Bills series. I'm on America's side here because, to be honest, everybody already believes Mahomes is the greatest quarterback of all time, or at least is that close to it. So would a loss change things? No. Would a win change it? Maybe to some people, but I would say people already think he's the greatest of all time, so that wouldn't change it. I think something that does change is I think Bill Belichick gets dethroned for the greatest head coach of all time. Because now we're seeing Andy Reid do something impossible, basically, that's never been done in the 100+ year history of the NFL, or at least since the merger, which is 1970. We haven't seen a team three-peat for Super Bowls. Now the Patriots got close. They lost to the Eagles in a potential three-peat. Going from 16, 17, and 18, they lost to the Eagles thanks to Bill Belichick. So if Andy Reid wins this, I think that he takes the throne for the greatest head coach of all time. But Mahomes' stance, depending on where you are on who's the greatest quarterback of all time, it might move a little bit, but I don't think it moves at all. So with all that being said, I'm taking the Chiefs to win because I am on America's side, but like I said against the Bills game, and it always comes true. Mahomes just does something. Andy Reid dials up something crazy. Spags comes up with a crazy blitz. I got the Chiefs winning 30-27. I have them three-peating. I don't like it, just like I said against the Bills, but I know Chiefs fans might not like my explanation or like my lack of true hope in them, but I will say this. I have you winning. So be satisfied with that. Mm-hmm. I could be with the rest of America and say, I don't want the Chiefs to three-peat. I'm tired of the Chiefs. I pick to be right sometimes, not for my emotional side. If Mac Jones is out there, maybe I vote for him because I think he got screwed over. In this case, the Chiefs are just the better team because they have the better quarterback and they have the better head coach. And when it's all said and done, that's why Bill Belichick won Super Bowls. That's why Tom Brady won Super Bowls. That's why some of these premier teams that had long terms of success, why they won big. Sean McDermott's not in this case because of boneheaded decisions late in games. John Harbaugh's not in these games anymore because he doesn't have the greatest defense in the 2000s or arguably the greatest defense in NFL history like he did in the early 2000s and especially in 2000.
And his quarterback makes mistakes.
And Todd Monken decides to change up the game plan when something works so well throughout the entire season and they decide to flip it against the Kansas City Chiefs. It just doesn't make any sense. Head coach matters way more.
So I appreciate your analysis. I agree with you that the Chiefs have the edge in head coach and quarterback. You didn't point out that the Bills ran roughshod over the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game and the running game. until very late in the game where they found a way to slow it down a little bit. But they did a very good job. Saquon Barkley's head and shoulders over James Cook in terms of being a quality running back. So and they had Johnson out there half the snaps.
Correct.
Too. So
that
Saquon Barkley in the backfield.
Worst coaching decisions I've ever seen.
Saquon Barkley in the backfield getting the ball 25 times is going to be very different than the Bills, and it'll be more productive. So I like that a lot. I don't think that Andy Reid is the greatest coach in NFL history. If he wins this game, that will be 4 Super Bowls for him. He's lost 2. Bill Belichick won 6 as a head coach and 2 with the Giants as a defensive coordinator. I think that still puts him way ahead of Andy Reid. And Tom Brady is still the best quarterback in NFL history, even if Mahomes wins a three-peat, because Brady beat Mahomes in the AFC Championship game in 2018 or 19. I think it was 2018. And he beat him in the Super Bowl, the team that you could argue the Chiefs had the better team when Tampa Bay beat them. So the Mahomes couldn't never beat Brady in the big games. So Tom Brady, in my mind, and Brady has 7 Super Bowls. Mahomes would have 4 here. He's still got a long way to go to get to 7 or 8. So I still put Brady and Belichick ahead of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
Unfortunately, when it comes to Belichick's case, and again, we talked about this in the past, yes, he does have 8 Super Bowl rings, but 6 as a head coach. Then I think you got to put Steve Spagnuolo up there as one of the greatest coordinators of all time. He's got 5 rings.
Yeah, I don't
begrudge that. Unfortunately, he sucked as the Giants' interim head coach, or actually as their head coach for one season. Or excuse me, no, he was the Rams' head coach for 3 seasons, and that was abysmal. Can you guess his winning percentage when he's with the Rams?
No.
He was 208.
208.
20% of his games he won.
It was pretty bad.
But yeah, no.
Well, some coaches are great coordinators.
Josh McDaniels is an example of that.
Good example of that. Yeah.
Again, I'm on the side of America here when it comes down to it, because the Eagles are the better team. There is no, you go down the list, you look at defensive backs, linebackers, defensive linemen, offensive line, wide receivers, running backs. The only thing that the Chiefs are better in is quarterback and head coach.
Mm-hmm. The quarterback handles the ball on every play, and the coach makes the big decisions.
And that's why, down by 1 score in the 4th quarter overtime, Mahomes has 6 touchdowns, no picks, a passer rating of 132.4, and has a 71% completion percentage.
Yeah. It's going to be a great game.
Absolutely.
I'm counting on Saquon Barkley to keep Mahomes off the field.
I will say Saquon's going to break the record for most rushing yards in a total season. He's 29 yards away. If he doesn't get 29 yards, whoever plays give the Super Bowl MVP to the defense then. If Saquon runs for under 29 yards, give Steve Spagnuolo the Super Bowl MVP.
It makes it even more impressive that he's going to break that record, given that he didn't play in one game. They sat him down, and he didn't play in the 4th quarter in 4 games, I believe. So it's really very impressive. If he can play like he's played all season in the Super Bowl, Chiefs win. I'm sorry, Eagles win.
Again, America, I said this. Chiefs fans don't like it when I say, because I already heard it when during the Bills clip. America's rooting for the Eagles because we're tired of the Chiefs. Now, here's the sad part, and I'll say this just because it gets people riled up and it gets you riled up. All I'm asking, I know I picked the Chiefs, you have the Eagles, but for the sake of the viewer at home, can we at least make it a fair call game? If you're going to call everything, call everything. The entire 60 minutes, call everything. If you're not calling a single thing, don't call it in the last 2 minutes. Because that ruins it. We can go 59.
I don't want the refs to dictate who wins the Super Bowl.
We can go 59 and a half minutes. And in the last 30 seconds, even if it's a toss-up 50-50, and that flag gets thrown, that ruins the 59 and a half minutes that we just watched. Because the game was determined on one penalty in the last 30 seconds.
I hope
of the game.
That doesn't happen in this game.
To be honest, these are the 2 best teams in the NFL. They're here for a reason. This is going to be a damn good football game. And the sad part about this is people put a lot of money on the Super Bowl, which then only heightens the frustration, the anger at officiating, because people are putting hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars into the Super Bowl and a bunch of parlays, and it's determined based on potential human error. it's a judgment call. Their money is being spent on judgment calls here instead of the performance of the players.
This ref crew looks pretty decent, so I'm counting on them to stay away from determining the outcome of the game.
Well, against the Chiefs-Bills game, the ref that was part of that game, the Bills had massive success with. They lost.
Yeah. Who knows?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for watching this clip of the Harvey Hour. If you want to watch the full show, you can by clicking the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to take the show with you on the go, it is available wherever you get your podcast. We go live here on YouTube every single Tuesday and Friday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, so make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, and the notification bell to get notified whenever we upload a video and whenever we go live.